Kettlebell grip is something that we see a lot of people struggle with, especially in the beginning phases. It's a completely novel tool to most of the clients that we see. They've seen some kettlebells before. They're not really sure how to use them other than maybe what they've seen some people try. And honestly, we see a lot of people who come in and try to do silly things like curl them. But we want to make sure that you guys are approaching the kettlebell correctly, because how you hold it is really instrumental to making sure you can do a lot of the kettlebell exercises, particularly with the upper body, correct. So number one is it's not a dumbbell. So a lot of people will go and grab the middle of that handle and just hold it right over their arm. And right away what you can see is it's going to cock that wrist back, put it into a little bit of extension or hyperextension that for most people they can't really tolerate the stress. Number one, we're too tight on those forearms from sitting, texting, typing, driving, that this just puts some undue pressure on that wrist, and long term doesn't do yourself any favors. Now, it's not going to be you pick up the kettlebell one time and all of a sudden poof, your wrist blows up, but it's something we want to be aware, especially as clients start trying to grind through exercises, that we clean this up first. So we have what are called the ears of the kettlebell, to our knowledge, or to what we say, and those are the corners. And so we tell clients to take your index and thumb right into the corner of that kettlebell. Okay? So what happens is, instead of being straight across the forearms and pulling your wrist back, it actually sits at a slight angle in your palm. And that allows us to keep the wrist in a neutral position. So I have a spear right now pushing through the bell with my hands, and that's just to make sure you can see that nice neutral or straight alignment from my elbow all the way to my fingertips, not pulling the wrist back. Also, that's going to help the kettlebell to sit right between those forearm bones on that soft pad. Now, initially, that's going to hurt a little bit. It's going to create some pressure, some contact there that's uncomfortable, but over time you'll get used to it. You can also use some double wide wristbands if it's a little too uncomfortable at first. Maybe if you've got pretty good strength levels starting off the bat, it might be a lot of pressure. So really just check to see what you need. Okay, you're going to grab the kettlebell, and one of the other important things is position on your body. So a lot of people are used to doing dumbbell presses way out here. Okay, not so much with the kettlebell. You can see with a dumbbell it would be centered with my hand and my wrist and my elbow, but the kettlebell sits to the outside. So if we lose position, that kettlebell is going to torque our arm. If you've ever wrestled, this is the broken arm position. When it gets here, there's a lot of strain on that elbow and on that shoulder to keep a good position. So we will have people keep the kettlebell tight to the body. That means squeeze your elbow on the side. Okay, it's going to be roughly knuckles under the ear, maybe a little bit further under if you're a guy, because some of the bustier girls have trouble bringing that kettlebell in. But we want to keep it tight to the body. And as you press, we're going to have you guys go up and have a kind of natural corkscrew motion to that kettlebell. But it's got to start with a secure position racked on your body, not going up and down from here, and then making sure that the wrist is in a neutral position. This has just been how to approach and handle a kettlebell.